everyone's looking for the young guy. They're looking for McVay. I think take a shot out, Todd Bowles, get him a second shot at head coach, and see if he can do it.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
It's crazy. And our kids will know how great Tom Brady is because he's going to be playing.
Yes, it is 15.0%.
That's what the Yankees brought Garrett Cole to do.
He was a 6th-round pick. This is a fairy tale story that's being written in front of our eyes.
People like to call them their JV team, and they just stole one of their better players.
They didn't struggle against the Padres. The Padres didn't really put up a fight in most of the games.
Jerry Jones, hope you're listening.
Hi, I'm Landon Bowe, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NHL Opinions of the Week. I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by the man that is not a Canuck, Austin.
I'm not. Do you know what a Canuck is?
Is it a whale of some kind?
No. Because you remember, if you know their old uniforms, it was just a skate. Remember that?
Oh.
Like the old, red, white, and no, not red, white. Red, yellow, and black.
Oh, okay. I saw people wearing that on the
Yeah. Canucks I think it's like a Yankee, but for Canadians. I think it's the Canadian word for a Yankee. Because I looked it up, it's another word for Canadian.
Oh,
I figured it out with my dad while watching Game 7, and I was always wondering what the Connect was. I knew it wasn't like a whale because they didn't always have a whale as their mascot.
Yeah.
They just kind of transformed into that. But congrats on the Canucks having one of the more surprising years in a while. They were not supposed to be as good as they were. They ended up winning their division and winning a series and taking the Oilers, who were a great team, all the way to 7. I thought that they were going to win the series. I thought they were the better team because of their depth, but their offense really fell apart during the last 2 games, and the blood clotting issue with Brock Besser and the injury to Thatcher Demko really did them in. I think if Demko had played this series, look, Shilovs really did have a good series for what you can expect from a third-string goaltender. But if you have Thatcher Demko, I think they probably win this series.
Yeah, a credit for them for playing so well with Seelovs. Without Demko, I watched Game 7. I missed some the other games, and it just looked like their offense could not get anything going. At one point, it was like 29-7 shots against Edmonton, and I don't think there's anything to really panic. I'm curious what their contract looks like. But
they have some guys that they are going to have to worry about re-signing. But like I said, injuries really did them in more than anything. I don't think you can really prepare for a guy getting blood clotting issues or a guy like Thatcher Demko getting hurt. That's not necessarily something you want to happen, and not really something you can prepare for, especially the goaltending one. Because like I've said multiple times that you need good goaltending to go really far. And if a player gets hurt, it really can harm you.
Yeah, and Brock Besser, I know he was key in that one of the Nashville games, and he was top 5 in points this season for them. So losing him really stinks. And I know they were talking about Elias Pettersson. He just couldn't convert. I turned the game off because I thought it was over after the 3rd goal, but I'm not sure if he got one of the 2 goals at the end.
Pettersson, I don't believe did. I know Connor Garland got one, and it was Philip Ronek got the other one. Talking about Ronek, he is a free agent. Their biggest free agent, in my opinion, though, is Elias Lindholm. He was their best player during this series. He had 7 points in 7 games. He came over from Calgary mid-season, played very well with them. Had 10 points in 13 games with them after having 9 points in 12 games with Calgary back in their last playoff appearance back in 2022. They got to keep him. Also, 2 of their best defensemen, Ronek, Zadorov, even Ian Cole. All these guys are free agents as well. Tyler Myers. I think their top 4 defensemen are all free agents. So they have a lot of guys they have to bring back. But guys like Elias Pettersson, long-term deal where he signed. Same thing with Brock Besser. They're not really going to have to worry about forwards all that much except for Lindholm. But their defense could completely change based on, like I said, their top 4 defensemen are all free agents besides Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, I know Quinn Hughes, I believe, signed a contract last year, and But yeah, that's big for them. I'm looking up their cap. It looks like um it looks like they have about 25 million left in cap space, but they're all gonna have to sign the players that you mentioned. It looks like Silovs is a restricted free agent this year.
Yeah, he is. They technically, I think, have like 8 or 9 million in cap space, but if you take away like their minor league stuff and see how it's allocated, they have 23 million, like you said, because you're allowed to keep any contracts in the minors that are under 1.5 million. You're allowed to keep just in the minors, so they will have 23 million in cap, but they have to sign a lot of major guys. Again, all of their best defensemen except for Quinn Hughes are free agents, along with their top point scorer in this series. But like you said, I don't really worry at the moment. I'm very confident this team will be good again next year because it came down to injuries. And Thatcher Demko was one of the best goalies, a top 5 goalie this year. And to see him get hurt, it's really tough to see. I thought that they were going to go pretty far once he came back from injury, and he was amazing when he played. The problem was just he wasn't that healthy.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a team where they should just be patient. I wouldn't rush anything. They've kind of been struggling, but it seems like they're finally hitting their stride as for as long as the channel, I think they did something in the 2020 playoffs.
Yeah, they
In
went to
that
the
like
second round again and lost in
okay.
Game 7 to the Vegas Golden Knights.
So that's something, but I think that was kind of a fluke too. It seems like they have. I know Tocchet was in Coach of the Year candidate consideration is a better word of saying that. So I think they should just go again, see what happens next year, because outside of JT Miller, who just turned 30, and who led the points with Quinn Hughes, 24, Elias Pettersson, 25, Brock Besser, 26. But I'm trying to look at their defensemen. They got to sign those defensemen. Zadorov is 28, but it seems like they have a young core of Hughes, Pettersson, and Bezer. So we'll just have to see what happens, and their team will just have to see what they do. That's
Yeah, this
kind
is
of
a
the
big
big
free agency for them to make sure they stay in contention for being a top team. And if they do, they'll build on the experiences they had this year and make it back if they can.
Yeah, and they were the second team in the West. They were competing for the first for a lot of it. They led for most of it. Then they just kind of faltered. So I don't really see any major changes that need to happen. I would monitor the offense, especially in like high critical games, such as like a game 7 or a closeout game of game 6. But I think patience is just something that should be okay. Let's see how do they follow this up.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
So that's all we got. Let us know if you disagree with us about the Canucks. If they should make a big trade, what should they do? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.